district experienced in 1859.
Tremendous, tremendous.
And so when he goes back, you know, you say, okay, maybe that's it. At the same time, you've got 50 nations that are having revival. And the historians, we're all still working on that. But when it happened, it changed each nation. And in France, it brought about a democratic... So meet President Napoleon. Now,
he is related to...
He's the nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte that we knew, that sold us the Louisiana Purchase and gave us our country. Right. I mean, the French have been involved in our lives for a long time.
Helped us with the British.
Yeah, Lafayette.
Sorry about that. So who is she?
She's one of those lovely, wealthy society ladies that was holding meetings. And she basically had a passion in her heart to get the children, who many of them which were adults now, saved. And so she invited Reginald Radcliffe.
Wait a minute, I've heard of him. Okay, I'm going to jump in here now. But absolutely an outstanding evangelist family. He was destined to be an attorney, but he
like Finney.
Finney was an attorney.
Here we go. But so he had a hunger for the lost, and so he just he threw all that out, and he would win people on the streets, and he would go where people were. So we're just at the beginning now of the Victorian age. So this young girl called Queen Victoria has now become queen, and this guy, he heard that she was going to be coming to his town, because the Queen does, you know, you open a hall, and wherever there were people, he would go and hand out tracts. And so then he had a...
He actually got invited to speak. Okay, now this guy was never ever licensed as a minister. He was always a layman. And he got asked to speak.
So wait, you don't have to be a pastor then? Is what I'm... Never mind.
Yeah. Now, you know what? But his secret was this, I heard. He was a man of prayer, a man of the Bible. He would go and, I mean, just for long walks in the countryside and pray and pray and pray. He was always studying his Bible, and God would give him... He was a passionate... He was really... He may have not been officially recognized as a preacher, but man, he was anointed by God.
So he's from England?
Scotland.
Scotland.
And he spoke...
That's not England, you know.
They're all the same over there. So he leaves there and he goes to France, and he's holding meetings.
Yeah, but before he went to cathedral. I mean, how bona fide does that make him? And so he goes into Paris, and they've arranged for him to speak at a large venue, and it's got, you know, hundreds and almost thousands of seats. I mean, it's just a ginormous place. And the thing is you've got, you know, Emperor Napoleon, right? And you got the prefect of all the little police guys that don't like Christians. And here he comes in, and that lady said it all. The streets are thronged. You can't get in to the place. You can't get out of the place. Her, that little innocent face. And she created an event that ended up having so many people that came, that Paris has yet another revival.
And what year is this?
1881. And so at this point, the police find out, they look at this, they're horrified. Oh my gosh, the entire city is accepting Christ. What are we going to do about it? And they send you for a Christian something. We'll throw you in jail, and we will fine the business till they're bankrupt, basically. It was mammoth. And so he starts in on a tour of 42 meetings, and in little places, schools and little churches and all these little places. And the first people to accept Christ are the children of those former revivalists. And there's just a sweep across the board. And so that lady is so happy. Her entire life goal has been achieved. And so at some point after that 42 meetings, they lost count. Because, and the historians, you know, they're gathering this from primary documents all over the place. They've been doing this now for years, and I got to bring all this to you guys and everyone that's watching.
That's amazing.
This is Robert Haldane that led the Monod brothers to the Lord, that started La Revel. And he is an example of a man who just takes a few months to do something that is going to simply change a continent. One person. And He's not even, I mean, you've got all these people who weren't even ministers that were stepping up to do stuff. They just did what God asked them to do.
You know what I see? I see that one person connects to another person, connects to another person.
Right, right.
Who connects to another person. And that's how the revival.
And that's what it's all about. I mean, it brings us. Yeah.
The last place he preached at was the Oratory of the Louvre. The thing that was amazing is they could, you know, as big and as huge a venue as that was, and it supported the BVOVN prayer revival, it was still too small. And so they were saying, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get into a place that's big enough? They said, let's throw an ad. Let's put an ad out there. And a guy, his name was Triot, he said, he wasn't even a Christian, he said, I take care of men's bodies, because it was a gymnasium, you take care of their soul. And basically what happened was they had 7 meetings, and the police, for some reason, didn't shut the place down, didn't penalize anybody. And that was the last big push in his little evangelistical revival journey.
Well, you know, I think I'm going to have to go back and watch this show again, because you've given us a lot of history, and you were just going to spend a day. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I want you to get from, and Pastor Greg just touched on it, is how one thing led to the next. You don't know your sphere of influence, who you're going to affect, and who they affect. It is an amazing thing that God does when you do something simple like just sharing the gospel and being the one. This is so much deeper and so much more important for us now, while we have religious freedom, that we take it to the street and then we're able to share the gospel, even when it comes to our own family, when needed, to be able to be the one. Thank you, Linda, for sharing your story. I mean, that's quite a journey there. So remember, as we leave the air today, take time to investigate who God has you to be in your circle. We'll see you next time.
Coming up,